Hi, old beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Chris Cast. We have one more game of the regular season to present to you. Scenes, of course, it is ETF2L Highlander Season 23. This is the Premiership Division, Week 5, 2 different maps, 2 different map types. And it's going to be a battle between Feila eSports battling for that top seed going into the playoffs, while Bad Dragons will be looking to upset that party and give themselves a better chance in getting some more points as that third placed team. Yeah, it's an interesting season. As you can see, the table as it currently stands. So we can take a look at the rosters here. I'll run down Bad Dragons, who are in the blue. They have Lightclaw on Scout, Boshi on Soldier, a very beasting flank there. Fridge is on Pyro, Corky on Demoman, Walker on Heavy, Engineer is Citrus, Medic Atom, Cloudy on Sniper, and Yucca, formerly known as TS, on Spy. Do you want to let me know the Feila eSports roster there, Meer?
Yeah, pretty much consistent with what we've seen in the past 4 weeks as well. We've got BB on the Scout, Soldier is going to be Satan _ Team Fortress, Grip Pyro, Joe Nuts Demoman, Poi is on the Heavy, Lilypad on the Engineer class, Layla Medic, of course, Sniper is Karoy, and finally it's going to be Axie on that Spy. So two rosters looking very, very similar to what we saw at the start of the season.
Teams have definitely shown that they've stuck with their rosters. Yeah, we are live here on Gullywash. This is the Week 5 of ETF2L Highlander Premiership Season 23. Bad Dragons in the blue up against Feila eSports in the red. Bad Dragons don't need anything from this game, but Feila eSports need it all to try and get that top seed. And look at the aggression here from Bad Dragons, taking their enemy side. A lot of players going down here from both sides. The combo is just getting absolutely destroyed. Layla's down to about 50 HP. Atom's down to about 30. Does get cleaned up there by Karoy with the body shot. There are still players in here. Corky and Cloudy are trying to maybe get some late end game frags. Corky is going to get Karoy, just slowing things down here and there. He's the last person alive. It's eventually a wipe for a microsecond there, but it is going to be a mid-fight win for Feila eSports, and Layla surviving. Big ad.
It did look a bit hairy for Feila at the start there. Joe got pressured really early by that aggressive mid-fight from Bad Dragons. They sort of split the team in two, half of them under, half of them in that choke. But ultimately Feila managed to recuperate themselves, consolidate the mid-fight, stack on those Bad Dragons players that are applying so much pressure in that choke, and it just swings the other way a bit. Do have control of this second now, looking to take this lobby. It is a 70% Uber advantage to Feila, so I can't imagine they're going to be slouchy around as they approach this river area here now.
Yeah, Yucca is in lobby, just been giving his team information saying they are in river, they are pushing in down. The Uber is going to be used in, they know where the sentry is. Joe's going to throw 2 stickers down, pick that out. Lightball will go down, but so many players are very, very weak here on Feila. They're going to lose Lily, they're going to lose BB and Satan. Quality is going down. It's actually a decent amount of cap time on the point, but Walker is there trying to gun anyone down. Atom is going to get taken out by Grip though, so Feila can just back out here, safe in the knowledge that they're going to have an Uber advantage, but they're still trying. Joe is still walking forward. It's just Joe and Karoy in river. They finally back out, but a little bit close there. You know, they didn't seal it off, and as we so often see on 5CP maps in Highlander, because there's so many players, a huge Uber advantage isn't always a guaranteed round win.
No, certainly not. It looked like Satan and BB did a sort of an excellent job of pressuring Bad Dragons into that right side spawn area, but the players pressuring point just managed to convert the frags onto Feila so easily, and then I'm not sure what it is. It's got a bit of flair about him, but Joe's managed to survive in some very hairy situations. We saw it on mid, and we've seen it on last, and they come in straight away with a supercharge.
Yeah, they're flashing a lot of players here. They flash Grip, who's going to go to the point, but gets taken down. The flash wasn't long enough. Atom does go down again. This time it's to BB, and now it's all about the DM Fest. Corky's going to take down BB. A lot of players are dying here for everybody, and it's only Yucca alive. And second time of asking, Feila are going to get this round, and like we said earlier on in the stream, Feila need to win both of these maps outright. No golden caps, they just need to win it, and they need to win it with a a round difference of 6 or more in order to take first seed. And Meer, they're making pretty good time so far.
Seemingly so. 3 minutes in is pretty solid. They've been on the front foot basically this entire game, not letting Bad Dragons get anything they want, and Satan is straight away just goes so deep. They're playing this aggressive in mid again, Bad Dragons, but not without resistance from Feila, and it looks like it's swinging Feila's way at this point.
Again, yeah, Bad Dragons deciding to try and take their enemy's side, you know, being that aggressive push. I felt Satan was baited a little bit there, went launching in, landed right on the combo, but the follow-up just wasn't there from Feila. But it works out for them in the end, with that kind of war of attrition, just slowly doing it. And because of the amount of players that Bad Dragons lost, they're not going to be able to hold second either. So the only difference between the last round and this one so far is the fact that Atom survived, has 90% in the bank, and will have an overcharge ready on last. So Feila won't be able to just, you know, throw themselves in on a full ad push, and maybe a chance for them to just settle down. But Feila, we know there's no brakes on their train, and they're already going into River.
Yeah, we know. They're on a level playing field right now, but Feila aren't ones to slouch in that instance, and they send Poi and BB into River straight away. Perhaps setting up a bit of a point play here as Walker is holding the fort for Bad Dragons as it stands, but he's going to receive a lot of pressure. The combo has to drop down to point for Bad Dragons. We could be seeing a push coming out of Feila very soon now. 3 players down, Corky and Walker.
Yeah, that's actually really, really big. They lose Koroya and Lily, but BB and Poi making a really interesting play, just going into River. Weren't really noticed. I think Walker had some sort of knowledge that there were people in water, but couldn't deal with either of them because, I mean, you've got a scout and a heavy against you. Makes it quite difficult, but Boshi is going to get a kill onto Satan there. Bit of soldier versus soldier action, and that's one player who won't be able to go for a sack or a little bit of pressure, as Yucca is on second and BB's trying to look for him now. It's hide and seek mode, and he's just going to get a little bit of cap time. Boy, just punching the air.
Unfortunately unable to bop Yucca in this instance. Feila maintain their lobby position now. Of course, we know this map is incredibly push out. You need some serious player advantages to pull it off, so Bad Dragons sort of resigning themselves here. They realise they're going to be here for a while until Feila have a fail push, and a huge one there from Boshi gets Roy down. Huge damage as well to the combo.
So this time, instead of it being Poi, BB had grip for company, and that was probably a better shout, because even though Poi did get a couple of kills last time, what can Pyro do that no one else can? Push people away with the air blast, and actually they got some decent cap time there, ×3 on the point, and again, whoever is watching the point, which at the moment is Walker, is always getting pressured, and these point plays are slowly getting time, and I think if Feila don't lose any other players when they're doing that, then it could spell something. Well, actually, it looks like Bad Dragons want to come out here because Joe did die to Corky earlier on. That sentry from Lily has gone down as well. Feila are still in the lobby, and Meer, they managed to take down Corky. They might even go for another point play. No stickies on the point.
They're in a really good position to do so. They're piling down this river now. They can get in on the last. Bad Dragon sort of scrabbling for a defense, and Cloudy going down to Roy as well. Right at the start, Poi has gone under in conjunction with BB and Grip, so they're going to look to play this point soon enough, but no onward aggression, no sign of the Uber just yet, but 3 players on the point. Walker's doing what he can. The Uber on the point is a nuke. They've killed so many numbers, but not too healthy either from Feila.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting right now. Poi is on the point now, and that's going to be really important. There's so many red players, and Joe just walks onto the point. They cannot deal with this water presence at the moment. They got so much cap time, so they tried BB and Poi, then they tried BB and Grip, and they were like, screw it, let's do BB, Poi and Grip, all 3 of you go into the water and get some cap time. And even though Bad Dragons had more players, they didn't have the right players up at the end of that Uber, and they couldn't stand on the point because Poi was just watching, and it is going to be 2-0 after about 7 or 8 minutes. So Feila at the moment on pace, and looks like Bad Dragons want to switch up the mids here. They're going a little bit more passive. Yeah,
clean sweep in this one for Feila is going to put them in a really, really good spot walking into product, and just a bit of a melee on this point. It seems a bit more aggression coming out of Feila on this mid, and a really good backstab from Maxio there onto Corky, just converts that and does have to run out. Cloudy out by Lilypad as well. That's pretty clean there from Feila, and they maintain their heals. Atom baits well, does manage to slip out with Fridge, so going to be in a good position again. We're going to see a lobby hold from Feila. We're going to see equal Ubers on last, and the I was going to say the slow pace of Gullywash, but it's not been all that so far, CeeJaey.
It's not. I mean, these mid fights, and that's the thing with 5CP, the mid fight is so important because it's hard to push. And even if Bad Dragons don't lose as badly as they have been, if you lose the mid fight, you're stuck on second. It's really hard for you to re-push that. So at the moment, Bad Dragons, they did try to switch things up on that mid. What's going on?
Boshi was in behind so far. It's a nice air shot onto Satan, but just gets too rocketed. He's taken down, so no flanks up for Bad Dragons just yet. Feila applying pressure in this river again. They've gone with the all-reliable Poi and Grip and BB in River. It's just Walker there again. It's really not the position you want to be in. Oh no, he walks off the point. Oh, they managed to convert a lot of frags, but counters come out as well. Both Ubers traded. A bit of a melee on the point here now.
Yeah, the Uber plays for Bad Dragons on the point, and Poi eventually does get down. I love the little flare jump there from Fridge to get on the point, realised the danger, and just got on there, but there is still a lot of danger. Walker is on the point, players, Satan eventually goes down to that flare. Atom dies though, and this is what we saw in the first couple of rounds. He's just not getting that protection, and Feila now have an Uber advantage. They just want to keep going forward, seeing if they can get any more kills to open things up, but Cloudy, look how aggressive he is in main, just getting chased by Axio, will get taken down, and at the moment Bad Dragons just don't know how to deal with his water play. I mean, they're just leaving Walker on the point, and it feels like he's getting baited, right?
He's getting raw dogged every single time, and Feila just playing so aggressive. They're playing for the time. They're playing in such a way that Bad Dragons can never get outlast. They're always playing with their Uber advantages. They're always playing with pressure on point, but a lot of the stuff for Feila. Yeah, he comes in behind, gets Feila.
I mean, when you have one of the best jumpers in the world, you always got to watch for those quick, fast plays. Poi, I was going to say, as long as Poi is alive, there's a chance he's going to do some shenanigans in water. But Cloudy gets the headshot onto him. Only 4 alive for both teams. But it does look like Bad Dragons want to push out here and maybe reclaim the second point and get something. But no, Lilypad blocking the point by standing on the top. Gets headshot by Cloudy. Now Walker is on the high ground, and Bad Dragons aren't doing this by halves. They are all the way in. So is Joe, trying to get some damage down to people. He hates snipers. And all Boshy down, but Medics is staying alive. Still 100% Uber here for Atom.
Yeah, that was seemingly what was quite a comfortable push out there for Bad Dragons. They managed to maintain their Uber advantage. They stuck on that point pretty well, but it somehow seemed to have slipped. Some really disadvantageous kills coming out really late, particularly in the flanks, and then Walker as well just sort of sealed that deal. So Feila just going to take this cap back in their favour, and we're going to see something very similar to what we've seen for the past sort of 10 minutes of this first map here.
Yeah, I mean, Atom still has an Uber advantage here. I'm not sure what...
Poi picks up 2.
Yeah, they're just allowing these DM fights to happen. You think just use this Uber. Layla goes down as well. So this Uber is even bigger. And there we go. It's going to be used onto Fridge. He's going to use that flare and the flamethrower. But there's 3 people behind on last. No! Walker's there, no!
Oh, Walker's getting baited out so hard, seemingly by Bad Dragons. It's happening so consistently. They're seeing these 3 players go water every single time, and they're not rotating anyone to support them at all. You'd think at a point you'd rotate a soldier there, you'd put your demo man stickies there, or just something, but it's an awful position for him to be in. And Feila now 3 rounds up, 10 minutes in, and they're on pace to take this quite convincingly within the next sort of 6 to 8 minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, oh wow, they're getting a... Wow, this is a really good start to the mid-fight for Bad Dragons. They're going back to All Reliable and going to the start, and they managed to take down a bunch of players. Joe and Layla both eliminated from the equation. Boshy with a nice rocket to stop Satan getting any more pressure onto Atom there. The rest of the players are starting to come in. Atom's only actually 48 HP, but the last 2 players are the assassin classes. They can kill in 1 hit, but they are both very weak. It's Yucca versus Axio. It's Spy on Spy. Axio has 2 HP. Oh, the sticky.
That looked like something out of GoldenEye there. It was quite a long melee between the 2 of them, but ultimately the follow-up from Quarky does see Axio take the L, and they are straight into the second now. BB attempts to apply a bit of pressure, but it's just the flanks in for now. But seemingly quite a slow second push out of Bad Dragons here. They are on 80% Uber advantage, so they can't afford to slouch too much if they want to convert this into something meaty.
Yeah, it's interesting there because Joe started to come in. Quarky started to come in. Joe takes him down, and then Yucca gets the kill into Joe. So basically trading demos, and it felt like that was such a better advantage for Bad Dragons. They were happy to just walk in on that, and Feila were like, no, we don't have our demo man, we're just out of here, which was really strange because aggressively, if Joe goes in, you know he's done a lot of damage and everyone's happy to follow up, but defensively, they just weren't happy in staying in there. And this is the first time we've seen Bad Dragons get this far forward on the map. They're going to use the Uber Infamy main, trying to get pressure onto the high ground. There's a level 3 sentry, there's a heavy on the rim, but both Layla and Poi have died, and now they're getting pressure. Fridge is on the cap, there's so much cap time!
Oh, it just slipped there. Feila dropped down onto point just in time. Quarky is attempted to come in for a salvage, but a nice Karoi headshot there seals the deal. Cloudy attempted to pick people up on the way up, but it is just him and Atom right now, so that's really unfortunate there. As mentioned before, Joe dying there on that mid fight, and then Feila just don't commit to it. It looks like he's been baiting pretty hard on these mids and just been playing for the solid points, and it seems to be working for them so far. Feila, as they do begin to retake this second with their flanks now. Bad Dragons applying pressure from the big door.
Yeah, this is such good aggression from Feila. They know that they can't just sit and wait on last because they have this uber disadvantage, and Bad Dragons are trying to pressure this from the big door, but it is essentially one big choke, and they've lost 4 players for the cause and lost the fight. Joe is very, very weak. Atom ticking over to 100% here. Does have Corky and Walker and Fridge for company, so they could use this Uber and clean house if they wanted to, but they're losing too many players. Corky, Yucca, Lightclaw, all getting taken down here, and Latest at 75% now.
It seems pretty consistently in these fights that the flanks of Bad Dragons, so they're making a lot of space. The combo's just not quite committing in fast enough. Talk about committing in, Joe walks through, does get picked off by Cloudy, so that's going to slow them down a little bit. It is equal Uber situation right now. Feila not too healthy, and some aggression seemingly coming out of Bad Dragons. Definitely cruxy on Cloudy's play in that choke area, just staring down the barrel at Karoi.
Satan picks up 2 on the flank though. Talk about the Lightclaw Boshi flank being a huge strong point of this team, as is Cloudy, and the 3 of them have been taken away from the equation right now. So you can take a look at Feila with 3 players to the good. They start to pressure big door here, and they've got so much space.
Yeah, look at the flanks coming in up onto Bad Dragons. The force does come out, but the positioning is unbelievable here. I can't see this going any way other than Feila. Despite being numbers down, Walker is piling in. He's in a bit of a melee, just trading the franks right now, doing what they can. So Bad Dragons players baiting in that shutter. They're doing a good job on cleaning up on the Feila players and maintaining the health themselves. And Boshi goes so deep. He's in on Layla, sorry. Oh, and a good chase there from Lightclaw. Does see her go down. So Atom's managed to net himself a nice 50% advantage here. They maintain the second point too. It's going to put them in pretty good stead to hold this now.
Honestly, like, I was listening to you talking there, and I was just echoing everything in my mind, like how good that push was. Flank going in through lower all the way up to River, having the high ground while the combo trades on the floor, but then the only thing they didn't count on was Walker having just that extended flash and winning the fight. But Atom goes down here, and this is not what you do on 5CP Highlander. After all of that good work from Boshi and Lightclaw to get the Uber advantage by killing Layla, they decide to try and dry push choke when they haven't got any sort of advantage, player or Uber-wise, and now they're going to get some spawns on last, and it's going to be a bit of a mad dash here. I can see another point play coming in from Feila here. They've got 13 minutes to go. Karoi is down, so no sniping for now, but Bad Dragons again on their last, facing an Uber disadvantage.
It's such an awkward position to be on this last. I think it's one that you've really got to approach with some caution, especially when you're pushing out. I think if they really want to take rounds from this, if they really want to ruin Feila's parade, they need to just be taking the nice consistent points, try not to let seconds slip whenever they can, but that's just not been happening, and they've seen themselves on last for basically half of this map, and once Feila have them there, once they apply pressure to the cap, once they have the Ubers, it just always slips, and players piling on the cap again. It's textbook again. Say it jumps on the cap, manages to convert it, and the frags just coming out on Bad Dragons every single time here.
Axio has more points than anyone on the server at the moment, just consistently getting kills. I thought Bad Dragons might have saved that. Cloudy got a kill onto BB, so no scout getting that ×2 on the point. And Boshi jumped in and got a bunch of damage on the people, but that's the thing, they're not relying on the scout doing the work to get on the cap, they're just counting on everybody to put in a shift. And look how aggressive they're being. Lightclaw is already on the opponent's big door, takes down Karoi, and they've taken their enemy's choke here, and now it's just going to be a DM fest as players are jumping in. Axio is down, BB is down, Boshi is down, a reflect kill by Fridge onto Satan, and Yucca is going to get the backstab onto Layla. Could this be another mid-fight win? I mean, Poise on the point, no. Corky has a pipe with his name on it, and it's only Karoi on the respawn. That is a life for Feila right now, and it just looked like they said, okay, screw this, we're just going to press W, and it worked out well for them.
Yeah, Feila there, they knew the Bad Dragons were going to go for that aggro mid on their side again, so they thought they'd mirror that. It seemed to work out, but then their players were just caught behind. If you've got the players ready to aggress onto the enemy side, you need to be making that aggression and making the space for them, because they were just left alone and they got focused down by Bad Dragons, and it just completely flipped the other way.
2 kills for both sides here. No Axio, like I said. top pointing on the server at the moment with 62, and no Cloudy for Bad Dragon, so no insta-kills coming out of those players, but Walker gets the kill onto Joe. We know how important Joe is for Feila. The Uber is going to be used by Atom there, just to try and make some space in Big Door, but Feila not deciding to just play passive on second on the high ground. They're fighting from lower as Poi just pushes out, and they didn't get Layla, so she now has 95%, and that means Feila are going to start trying to push mid here, and it just seems they're not getting much value out of these Ubers.
Doesn't get the force out, or neither does Quarky, but it does slip eventually. Cloudy is down, they're chasing as best they can, but it's just gripping this Uber, and the denial from Fridge doesn't mean it goes the other way, but they're coming back in, they want to get right in on Atom. Gripped in! Oh, doesn't quite manage it, but that was a really good commitment from him, and Feila again in a really good position. They've got good ground to start to take this point, but they need to begin to start to dismantle Bad Dragon's combo here.
Yeah, 4 down for Feila, and you just kind of hope, there we go, they take down Joe, so no demo. Maybe they'll be tempted to push mid here, on the fact that they have this Uber advantage. Atom surviving despite the iron bomb, but Feila are just going to collapse on this choke. They've lost Rage, they've lost Walker.
That's really unfortunate, and Quarky bombs away from Atom. Oh, it's just a solo there on Cloudy, and unfortunately Quarky does die in that Big Door area, so Layla again, 60% advantage. They're on the front foot looking down the barrel of second now. No Boshi, no Lightfall, no Quarky, no Walker. Such important classes on this map, so important for holding Big Door and holding this lobby area. We're going to see a very similar position again, but this time Feila have advantage coming into this last, and the spawn is still not up for Bad Dragons right now.
Yeah, they're coming in through main. They're going to flash as many people in onto the point as possible. Boshi trying to jump in, manages to take down the lily pad. But again, there is this point pressure. Quarky is trying to deny people on the point. But no, Rip just walks on it, and it's going to be 5-0 on the first map tonight. And things looking pretty rosy right now for Feila eSports. And in terms of Koth maps, Feila have always favoured Coal Plant, Warm Tick, those kind of maps. Product, not saying they're bad on it, they're very good on it, but maybe it's not their most favourite Koth map. Do you have a prediction here, Meer? I'm going to put you on the spot. What's it going to be? Score. I need an exact scoreline from you.
An exact scoreline.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go for the 3-1 to Feila.
We'll have to see, as we are going live here on the second map of this matchup, week 5 of season 23 ETF2L Premiership Highlander division. It is Bad Dragons versus Feila eSports. Bad Dragons in the blue just lost 5-0 on Gullywash. Feila eSports just need to win this map outside of a golden cap. They just need to win it outright, and they'll be guaranteed first seed for this season. And Joe is already so far across the point that Layla is going to die here. Atom is alive. It is just absolute carnage right now, as it's about 5v5. So many players dying. Boshi is launching in here to try and clean up. Lightclaw on the beam is going to start to pick up a few kills here, and somehow that cost of their medic just leads to Bad Dragons winning that mid-fight there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a near pristine push from Feila. They did exactly what we saw on Warm Tick and Coal Plant earlier in the season. They committed everyone further forward, including Grip, including Poi, but they lost Layla in the melee, and ultimately it slipped out of their hands. Atom, preserving his life individually, has managed to turn the tide of that fight. It was very aggressive from Feila, so I can imagine we're seeing that a bit more this game, and with Cloudy down, that's a lot of point pressure missing, but Joe being traded too there.
Yeah, Karoy has the freedom of the server right now, able to pick off some heads. But big bomb from Boshi, and he gets away. No, he doesn't. He gets hit by the flare, but manages to take down Karoy, and Feila do get the cap as well. So they'll be pretty happy with that. Lightcore trying to get a little bit of cap time here. Now the Ubers are pretty even, but it's going to be used, and Fridge can't get the flare jump, and it's got a bit wrong there.
That's really unfortunate. They managed to convert to the point off the back of it, but now Feila, all numbers up bar Axio, and a full Uber in hand, they just look to use it straight away. Joe is very weak here, so hoping not to get picked off, but Bad Dragon's really far back here, so should be a nice convert here, but what they do preserve is they preserve most of their players, but somehow losing Atom in that.
They lose Atom because Joe just perfectly sinks a couple of sickies while Ubering in. and just wasn't in a position to survive. But the clutch there is the fact that BB and Satan die after the point's capped, and Layla gets headshot by Cloudy, and without your heals and without your flank, Feila are going to probably be struggling. They have no buffs on them right now, and this is the opportune time for Bad Dragons to try and get some cap time, which Corky and Lyko is trying to do, but we're going to be killed there by Kroy. So maybe not as easy as we thought. Joe is going to hit some pipes, but Corky is hitting just as many. This is just absolute carnage here. I can't keep up with this right now.
It seems like at times Bad Dragons have the perfect anti-Feila game plan. It looks like Joe is getting focused down near immediately in all these team fights, particularly like Cloudy and Boshy. They're doing a really stellar job, and Kroy getting picked off as well. It just seems really solid. They're certainly just rolling through the punches, but managing to maintain that point are Feila. They're 30 seconds advantage in this first round against them, but without the numbers and with the Uber for Bad Dragons, they're going to look to give it up, but Feila aren't too far away themselves here.
Yeah, correct. Oh, Boshy gets 2 kills there. BB and Layla. Layla was so close to getting Uber. I don't think it was a drop. She was at 98%, and the Uber by Atom is going to be used to try and just keep some players alive. Feila have the full quotient of players back on the respawn now, but the point is in the hands of Bad Dragons. They're in pocket. They have a slim Uber advantage. We're talking like 5-10% here. Not really anything to write home about, but Cloudy's on rock, Walker's on cliff, and Corky is launching those pipes across the point.
We always know that Feila, as soon as they have Uber, they want to use it, particularly on Koff, but it just didn't work out in their favour. They came forward a bit too early. The players just weren't there to deny Boshy, and he just goes huge. Do manage to convert the point off the back of it anyway, but Layla again goes down in the melee. Bad Dragons applying huge pressure to the combo of Feila, and their flanks have a bit of a field day at times here.
I'm not gonna I mean, Boshy is consistently getting Layla here, and that's not good if you're on Feila. But if I was in Layla's position, I was the only person who died there, and my team managed to convert the point and get a bunch of kills, I'd be like, you know what, it's okay, we've got control of the point, we can at least work with this. Joe stood behind the point right now, taunting, trying to check his traps on the rock. So, might look like BM, but actually just trying to get a little bit of a different angle. And yeah, here comes the Uber. Corky is so deep. Lightclaw's going to get a meat of that Uber as well. Corky gets a lot of damage onto Layla. Surely that's been communicated. Lightclaw on a 5k right now. Cannot get the extra one onto Layla though. They are going to convert the point. But Layla at 40% doesn't have this huge Uber advantage over Atom, and Corky down means no demo spam, and look how easy it is for BB to get this point pressure. Nobody is contesting him whatsoever, and that's criminal, Meer. Surely you've got to do something to stop that cap being done for free.
Yeah, it just looks like Bad Dragons baited a bit too hard. They know they don't have Uber advantage. They know Feila are a long shot off, and they just didn't apply any counter pressure whatsoever. They were missing a couple players, but I don't think that's excuse enough. You know, Kroy being down as well in that melee does mean that was a lot of point pressure down for Feila, and Bad Dragons on the back foot again here as Feila Uber forward.
Yeah, Atom gets taken down, and this is the big difference between the Ubers at the moment. Boshy is on the point trying to keep the point alive. Lightclaw comes in, but it's not going to be enough. Feila will take the first round, and this is the big difference. When there is an Uber advantage in the hands of Feila, they are using it, and they are killing Atom every single time. They're going in deep, they are making sure they get the medic, and then they are regrouping. Whereas when Bad Dragons have an advantage, they're not getting the medic. They're getting medic elsewhere, which is giving them this Uber advantage. But when they have an Uber, they're not really working and getting value out of it. And Feila now are just 2 rounds away from cementing that first place. Kroy with the first kill of this second mid-fight, taking down Lightclaw. It's a little bit passive from everyone else, but Boshy and Cloudy return, taking down Satan and Kroy. Layla is going to get taken down by Walker, and that's going to open things up here.
Yeah, 4 numbers down, including Joe for Feila. Does mean Bad Dragons in a really good position here to contest this. They know there's no sniper pressure. The only unknown quantity for them is Axia right now, with Boy and Grip attempt to salve at the end there. Create a bit of a distraction for Axio, but it just does not come good. But they've got their spawn waves coming straight away, and Joe manages to kill Walker. He's chased all the way onto... Lilypad managed to chase all the way onto Cliff, and Feila, in spite of all that, do manage to... Oh no, never mind! Yucky gets a backstab on Joanne, and Feila is sent shit scared run in there.
Yeah, that's a win, because again, Layla is going to survive. Just gets out there Joe will happily trade his life for the survival of his medic, and it's again, they're just constantly fighting. Oh no, Cloudy though, with the body shot, is going to take down Layla, and finally Bad Dragons managed to win what is essentially the end of the mid-fight now. Lightclaw with a cleaver kill onto BB. Joe goes down again, but Axio is going to get the backstab onto Atom, so no heals here for Bad Dragons, and we know what that means, Meer. Feila are going to start pressing that W key, start taking fights, because they know they have the better respawns, and they just want to go forward and just shoot things.
It's a very simple formula, but a very effective one, and it seems to have served them very well throughout the course of the season. It looks like they're not looking to go in too raw at this point. They have got uber advantage, be it minimal. Just sort of feeling out Bad Dragons. Of course, what they really want to do is shut down Cloudy here before the push, because he can create a real nuisance for them here, and Quarky going down to Grip as well. It's been an even better pos now.
Yeah, that demo kill basically means Feila can do what they just keep doing and pressuring the point without much contesting at whatsoever. BB just running around the point, nobody shooting at him, and it's just a free almost recap, and Feila with 80%, Atom only at 40. This is a pretty meaty advantage, so despite the fact that they are in the lead in terms of time, they do not have the point currently, and they do not have an uber advantage, but Joe getting taken down by Cloudy, and Karoi going down. No demo, no sniper. Maybe now the Uber is going to be forced.
Yeah, they're charging forward. Trying to get in this main. BB does what he can, but ultimately don't convert too many frags. But they've dealt a fair bit of damage with a number of them bleeding out from Bad Dragons. But I don't see them this going Feila's way, as they're sort of chasing them out, stacking onto this point and looking to retake it for themselves. But Joe's never say never, as he 1v1s Lightclaw on the grass area, ultimately does lose it, and Feila just going to look to reset now.
The Uber is going so deep in here, Layla. At 7 HP! Is she going to survive? No,
Lightclaw.
I think he had like 2 scattergun shots, like the 2 of the pellets hit her as he's running away. Manages to get her 15 damage, gets the kill, but trades half their team. Lightclaw, Corky and Atom and Cloudy all in the respawn. Feila just recaptured the point basically for free. And it's just, it seems there's 1 step forward and, you know, like 1.5 steps back at the moment for Bad Dragons. As soon as they get something really, really good, Feila just walking forward, and it just seems all too easy for them right now.
It does. I think Cloudy against Joe again. It's happened so consistently, but as we saw, Bad Dragons just went so deep with that, and then Poi just converts the frag straight back onto Atom. So chasing the medic that deep, losing the numbers, and then losing the point is not favouring them in these instances whatsoever. But time looking pretty even right now. It's a bit of a melee, but Bad Dragons really not healthy in this, and again, just the coordination from Feila. They're really good at honing in on these focus targets, and they can make really hairy team fights swing their way in spite of some sort of tertiary conditions.
I could try to spawn camp Joe there, just kept him out of the fight for so long, but it didn't matter because no one else on the server was really doing anything. So you know, just need some of that camp time, get some of that pressure as Cloudy takes down BB. Big bomb in from Corky and Boshi. They do get the force here.
Yeah, that's what they want. They managed to convert some good frags as well. Satan going down and Joe as well. So that's a lot of presence down for Feila. Bad Dragon's going to look to take this without using here. Lightclaw is on this cap. He's using his Tiger Feet, but he's really not healthy. So Walker is going to have to come in to support. But I can imagine Feila, in spite of being numbers down, are not going to go down without a fight here, as their spawn waves are slowly trickling in.
The thing about King of the Hill, people always talk about the spawn waves, people always talk about the team fights, but if you're constantly trading, even when you have the point, you don't have the point, Feila just make it just this mess. Look at Joe, he's walking forward, he just wants to get as much done as possible. He gets a bunch of damage, he dies for it, but the rest of his team's like, okay, Joe's dead, now let's try and walk forward and get stuff done, and they get a couple of kills, and it's just this constant cycle of trading with people. But Cloudy taking down Karoi, we see the big jumps in now, Satan's in behind, Grip is across the point, and they do get the Uber Force again, Meer.
He's getting away with it so consistently here. It looks like whenever Bad Dragons get that force out, they're in just such an awkward position, lose a couple numbers, and then Feila just stack straight back onto that point, and they're going to look to sort of convert the players, take this point. They've got 34 seconds left to stick down, and it's just happening over and over again. It's like Groundhog Day here. Every single push seems to be consistently the same.
It does, doesn't it? It just seems that Bad Dragons are having these uber advantages. They're doing stuff, and Feila just walking forward and taking fights. It's just, this kind of mentality that the team have where they don't care about the state of the Uber. BB is going to get a ball kill there, straight to the head of Fridge. Lightwell is going to go down, so is Karoy, but Atom takes the pipe from Joe, and that may spell the end of this round.
Yeah, really unfortunate there from Bad Dragons again, and Feila looking really dominant, but Bad Dragons seemingly managing to take down this point a fair bit themselves, particularly with how keen Feila are to retaking this. I think a lot of the credit for Bad Dragon's side is coming down to Cloudy and Yucca. They're picking off Joe at the most inopportune times and really stunting their pushes at every opportunity, and I think they're going to seek to do that again. I guess we'll have to see. They are 2 rounds up now, so looking pretty comfortable for Feila going into this, but it's not been 2 complete stomps in these first 2 rounds.
A lot of damage from Corky onto the combo, and Joe does get taken down by his pipes.
Yucca!
With the 2. Boshi, this is an absolute crunch. Everyone else on Feila is weak. They're trying to run away. Lilypad down to 21 HP. Boshi is still looking for more. Sees Poi. I mean, a revved up heavy. You don't really want to run into that regardless of what class you're playing. Corky doesn't seem to fear, and it's just going to be like, okay, I'm going to just shoot these guys coming out the spawn. This could be to their detriment. Oh no! Satan's going to walk forward.
Oh no! So many kills!
The counter crunch. Satan with 4.
Oh, Boshi bombs in, but a good reflect from Grip sends him into the skybox. Oh my god, that headshot is huge! What was that?
What are we watching right now? Is this pre-game?
Karoy! Jesus Christ! Let's just simmer down a little. That was unbelievable. It looked a bit sour for Feila there because. In holding W, what you can't do is turn around, and Yucca did a really good job sweeping up there, and Feila do take the point back pretty quickly there, and just looking to exchange, and Cloudy going down again to Karoy.
Yeah, it just, there's W, and then there's like sensible W, and Feila are starting to press W. They do get Atom cleaning up some kills here. Layla with 100%. It is not looking good for Bad Dragons right now. They're about 20 seconds behind in terms of time, but they are 100% behind in terms of the Uber. They do not have the point. Grips on the high ground, just throwing flares around. There's cleavers, there's balls, there's all sorts of projectiles flying across this map. Somebody needs to step up and do something huge here on the side of Bad Dragons.
But Boshi just gets mega denied. We've seen it before, where Bad Dragons are just sending so many numbers into Feila. They seem to have identified that and just set up a little bit of a stronghold on that cliff area around Layla. They wait for the players to walk forward to support the spam for Bad Dragons, and then as soon as that bomb comes through, they shut him down and they just all charge forward and convert so many frags again.
Atom down, Layla surviving. It seems to be, like you said, Groundhog Day. It's just the same thing happening over and over again. Feila have an advantage. Bad Dragons try to move forward, and they just use the Uber and clean up Atom. He's not surviving. He's not getting the protection as Boshi starts to jump in behind, winning a fight against Satan Hill. Maybe not actually. Satan. 12 HP, and again, an absolute slaughter. Lightclaw survives. So does Atom, but you're going to need more from a suicide wave than just a spy kill.
Yeah, certainly so. I think Boshi got a bit infatuated with Satan on that flank and just wasn't effective in that. And ultimately did lose the 1v1. And Feila, again, they've got their thumb constantly on the trigger, holding that W key, and they seem to be backing up pretty seamlessly here. They're not losing a lot of numbers in these forward holds, but they're just being annoying. They're picking off 1 or 2 players out of Bad Dragons, and they seem to be getting away with it so far. And Bad Dragons, the best they can hope for is just sort of an opening for Cloudy, as he does pick off Grip there as well. So that's going to be enough for them to start stacking on this point with Joe down 2.
Yeah, and the Uber's actually forced because of the pressure on the point. BB doing a really smart job of just running in behind and getting some damage on the players not involved in the Uber. Bad Dragons will get the cap out of this. But they lose Cloudy. Karoy on a 7 kill streak right now. He took down Boshi and Cloudy in quick succession. Really having a good game. Not just hitting crazy shots, but getting some crazy kill streaks as well. And look, just stood on top of the rock. Does not fear. No counter sniping to worry about. They're on an E kill streak now. He takes down Walker 2. Layla gets beat by Lightclaw. So Feila get the cap, but it doesn't work out too well for them, as they're going to lose it pretty quickly. They don't even get the overtime.
Yeah, it seems ultimately the objective of Feila here is they're quite happy to just sack everyone in. They know they've got a 2-minute time advantage here, They were obviously hoping to take it into that overtime, so just one cap would seal the deal and make them win this map 3-0, which is obviously exactly what they want out of this fixture, and Roy picks off Cloudy as well there, so it's looking pretty good for them to retake this point again now.
Yeah, they're just walking on top of it, even though Adson has 100% Uber. If they're taking a sweet time using it, they do manage to block the point here. Maybe they take down Poi, Axio, but they're losing players as well. Fridge going really aggro, does get Joe, but they've already got 4 players alive, and Lilypad just walks onto the point. BB's there with Layla, and they're not going to be able to block this point. It will be 3-0. It will be 6 points for Feila eSports, and because of the round difference, it will be them, Feila eSports, in the top seed come the end of the season. And STCK will have to be playing against Bad Dragons in the semi-final when the playoffs start next week. That they are going to be a force to be reckoned with come the playoffs, which we will be covering, of course, on Critscast. They have cemented themselves as the first seed, which means they won't be playing next week. Bad Dragons, the third seed, will be playing SDCK, the defending champions, in the semi-final in a best of 3. SDCK being the higher seed will have a map pick advantage, and the winner of that tie will then go on to play the grand final against Feila eSports to decide Season 23's Premiership champion. Will it be SDCK defending their title, or will Feila eSports be winning their first final out of, I think, 7 or 8? Could this be the one, or could Bad Dragons be the ones saying that the Russian supremacy has arrived, and after many seasons of all Russian teams, this is their time to shine? We'll have to wait and see. But we have plenty more TF2 to cover with you coming up. Not just Highlander, we have the Locked and Loaded tournament coming up very, very soon in March. That's not Highlander. That is, in fact, a sixes tournament. And there is a prize pool. There's money involved. There's going to be some of the best teams in Europe trying to battle it out for the $1,000 prize pool. And there is even a prize for the top play of the event. So if you want to partake, go and check out the information you see there, Discord and the tournament page. If you just want to watch and enjoy the amazing plays, you can check out all the action live here on Critscast. 13th and 14th of March, playing this game between Feila eSports and Bad Dragons. Feila eSports getting enough done to get that first seed. We have a lot of information. If you want to check us out, you can go and check out our Twitter to follow information, or join our Discord to have a chat with some of the people who do the work. And if you want to support, you can always subscribe to the channel. You can check out the Patreon, and you can even get some merch from Critscast too. And all of the money for that goes towards the casters, producers, and the people who try and just support and work for the channel, getting everything done to bring these amazing casts to you. Thank you to Meer for joining me tonight, and V for running the production in the background. We'll be seeing you next time. Have a great night.
Hi, old beaver! Away!